Okay, everybody, Attorney Walter Hnot here. We're going to go ahead and basically begin with this. Do you know the basic rules? The rules are simple. You get about 30 minutes to ask me questions, but it's 30 minutes total. You get about 5-7 minutes total yourself when you call in. This is a free option to get access to a Social Security disability attorney, the most viewed, subscribed to, and clicked on disability attorney in America. Now, with that said, we've got the first person on the phone right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and shoot over to him. But keep in mind, please, throughout this process, no story mode. Have your legal question ready. And bottom line is, at the end of the day, just try and go ahead and be as quick with your fact pattern as possible. Good, sir. We've got you on the phone. Use a fake name throughout this process. What is your legal question? Go ahead.
Actually, I was wanting to follow up on a item you mentioned in one of the previous videos.
Sure.
You said you were talking about pregnant women and food stamps.
Mm-hmm.
The only concern I have with that is that what if that pregnant woman had an abortion?
Mm-hmm.
And
Sure.
she started getting food stamps.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that is a good point. I mean, but at the same time, an even bigger question is, how do you prove that she's pregnant to begin with, other than going to her doctor to get, some sort of documentation that she is in fact pregnant? So you'd have to have that validation. And then, of course, you might get fraud where they'd create essentially, some doctors that would try and get in on the scam, who would take a cut of it. But yeah, I agree. If she got an abortion or whatever, or there was a miscarriage, then, but at the same time, if she's receiving food while she's pregnant, she should be able to eat for two. So at the same time, I think it makes sense to give pregnant women food stamps. But again, that's not how the court ruled. But to me, that would make sense. But yeah, I agree. If you were to say, hey, look, she got an abortion and then she wasn't going to have the kid anymore. But with these abortion situations, if it was planned and done at a clinic, it's going to be pretty early on. If it was not planned and done at a clinic, then something happened down the line. But, either way, let's say that they pay out 1 month of too much food stamps to a pregnant person because they didn't know. I guess what do? Make the pregnant person, every single month prove that they're pregnant, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. That's all I wanted to mention.
Sounds
right.
good.
Thank you.
Absolutely good, sir. Have a wonderful night. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
You too.
Alrighty, everybody, we're going to take the next caller. Remember, the phone number is 407-279-1754. Again, 407-279-1754. If you have any questions at all, we will rock and roll through it and have a good time answering those questions. Now, with that said, I do have a hearing tomorrow very, very, very early in the morning. So just as a heads up, if we don't get somebody else to call in really quickly, then I'm going to go ahead and call tonight and basically get prepped to go to the office tomorrow. All right, so let's go through this. Here's the next caller. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Hnot. We're live on YouTube. Remember to use a fake name throughout this process. What is your legal question? Go ahead.
Hello, Walter. My name's Elliot, and I'm calling because I'm currently a recipient of survivor's benefits, and I'm needing to make a correction, I guess, to my father's earning record.
Sure.
From where I'm only receiving something substantially less than what I know his primary insurance amount, 75% of that is supposed to be.
Okay. So what happened? Give me the background.
Well, my dad made, I guess, around $60,000 or so a year for, I would just say, an average of 10 years or so. So I'm only getting $135 from his work account, but I'm getting $885 from my own work account. But I know I've only, over the course of my own life, I'm blind, by the way, and 34 years old. I was disabled before 20, I guess, years old. So I'm needing to know why my survivor's benefit's only $135 and not 75% of his $2,000 primary, insurance amount. How do I correct that?
Well, okay, so yeah, it doesn't sound like they did the math correctly. So the first thing you would do is find, if you could, or find somebody who could type up essentially, what your benefits should be calculated at. Then you would contact the SSA and ask to speak with the manager at the local field office, or if you can't get a hold of them, the regional office. Keep in mind, obviously, government is closed right now, and they lost another 6,000 employees to furlough. So what you would do then is you go ahead and outline, what the calculation correction should be based off the increased amount that you've received through your father's benefits. I'm assuming your father worked throughout most of his life, earned a pretty good wage, stuff like that.
Right. Yes.
Okay. So as a result of that, yeah, you shouldn't be at you shouldn't be at like what around $1,000. You should be way above that. So, okay.
Right.
So you're going to reach out to the local field office manager, ask them to do recalculation. If they won't go ahead and do a recalculation, ask them to give you an accounting letter. And then at that point, if you're getting any slack from the local field office, you want to go ahead and reach out to the regional field office and ask for them to do the calculation and put the pressure on the local field office to get it done.
Okay. Now, I've been only paid that $135. He died about 10 years ago. Am I going to be owed back pay going all the way back to where that calculation was originally made, or are they only going to do that foregoing?
I've seen it both ways, and there's different statutes that apply. But at the end of the day, if they made the mistake, they should owe you a check, like a big check going backwards in time. It also comes down to at what point should you have known that there was some sort of error, some sort of issue. You know, you're certainly of the age where you could have, should have, would have known, but you'll argue that your disabled has limited your capacity to go ahead and figure that out based off of, you know, reading statutes, what should have been, etc. But yeah, I mean, obviously, if your dad worked his entire life, you're probably going to be more in the $2,000 to $2,500 per month category.
Right. All right. Well, I appreciate your time on answering my question then.
Yeah, absolutely, good sir. You have a wonderful, wonderful night, okay?
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Perfect. All right, we're going to take another call real quick. Let's see who calls in, but I'm going to start the countdown real fast because I do have a super early hearing tomorrow, and I do have to work with the homeless, which means I have to wake up extra early, get to the homeless facility, etc. Here we go. Here's the next caller. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Hnot. We are live on YouTube. Remember to use a fake name throughout this process. What is your legal question? Go ahead.
Yes. Hi, is this Walter?
Howdy, madame. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Hi, how are you? Thank you so much for doing this. It's very much appreciated.
Yeah.
I have a question, and it has had a lot of details, and I narrowed it down to the main thing. Basically, my question is, I have multiple medical problems. I'm almost 58.
Mm-hmm.
I have multiple medical problems, out of which 2 definitely are the worst and the main reasons I can't work. How do I pick which one? Now I can give you the details. One is basically chronic vertigo. It keeps coming and going and lasts sometimes for months, sometimes for weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I can't function when it's happening. In between, I have really bad balance. And the other one is, I found out about a year ago that I had cataracts in both eyes, grade 3 to 4. So I didn't want to get the surgery at first. I was very afraid of the surgery. One of my psychiatric problems is anxiety too. So I postponed it and tried all kinds of other stuff. Nothing worked, and I ended up doing the surgery a few weeks ago. I have my next surgery scheduled in a couple of weeks. So that was almost a full year where I had the cataracts. So my daughter happened to mention that, maybe I should use the cataracts, because that's been almost a year, and that was significant. But the vertigo is the real problem, because at least cataracts I could get rid of. I don't know. Also,
so basically, you're applying for disability and you're trying to figure out which one to lead with. I mean, you're going to lead with both. Any and all impairments are to be considered for your disability. So, yeah, your vocational analysis is taking all of your totality of impairments and then seeing if you're unable to do a job in the national economy. So you're going to want to use anything that you can.
I have like 10 diagnoses. 3 psych. Those 2, I have chronic lower back pain, right knee, bone on bone. Like I have a lot. Okay, so the thing is, for the vertigo, I don't have that much documentation because I moved here to Florida about a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And since I moved, I had a very hard time finding a specialist, because at the time I moved, there was a lot of migration over here.
Okay.
I finally found one and started seeing him. But in the meantime, during all this time, I've been self-treating. I'm a medical provider, actually. So I've been self-treating. I know how to kind of get rid of it, but it kept coming back and coming back and coming back. Mm-hmm. And I also wrote some nausea medication for myself during that time. So is that something I should put in there, that I self-prescribe that, or not? I'm not sure. I
mean, it's subjective, though, because remember, if you're doing it for you, then it's subjective. You need others to do it for you to make it objective.
I mean, I've had the same medication in the past. It was just I didn't have a provider. Okay. And
Mhm.
Do you think, I mean, I don't know how much, I don't want to take a lot of your time to go into a lot of detail, but do you think I have a chance of being approved with that?
What's your
Because
current
everybody's,
age?
I'm almost 58.
What's your top
Everybody's
five?
telling me I should have.
What's your top
Sorry.
5 medical conditions?
Chronic many years with BPPV.
Mhm.
Those 2 types of vertigo. The cataracts, which can be removed. I have generalized anxiety disorder, ADHD, depression, which has gotten worse because of this. I also have chronic lower back pain. I have a herniated and a bulging disc in my lower back,
Mhm.
and my right knee is supposed to have surgery. I have bad arthritis. They said it's like bone on bone.
Mhm.
I can't think of what else. Oh, I have autoimmune problems and like a clotting problem.
Mhm.
I had a clot in my arm when I first moved here, and that was due to thoracic outlet syndrome.
Mhm.
If you know, that's how. Yeah. So
Mhm.
the combination of the 2 caused the blood clot. Also Sjogren's, which is also autoimmune, and hypothyroidism.
Which are the top 3 that limit your ability to work?
I would say the vertigo, the cataracts, the anxiety,
Okay, so let's hold it right
and
there.
the ADHD.
Let's just hold it right there at the anxiety. So
Mhm.
walk me through this. What's the best evidence that you have for each impairment?
Well, the vertigo, I was diagnosed in 2020 with Meniere's, and the BPPV afterwards, I was, I guess, diagnosed. They sent me to a physical therapist for that, and I was getting treated in New York, and then I moved here. I haven't really received treatment here. I've been self-treating because I know the maneuvers I have to do. I had no intention to ever file for this.
Hey, wait,
So I never
stay on track. What's
really
the best?
planned.
Yeah, no, I hear you. But what's the best evidence that you have for each of these?
Well, I have some. What do you mean by evidence exactly?
Well, I
Tests?
mean, tests, if it's anxiety, being inpatient at a mental facility, if it's Meniere's
No.
where, an emergency vehicle had to come pick you up because you kept falling down, evidence. Yeah.
Okay. Well, yes, I've been to the ER a few times for this. I had an otologist. I've been on medications which aren't even prescribed here. They're prescribed in other countries, and now I can't get it. For the anxiety and the ADHD and depression, I have a psychiatrist. I've been getting medication for anxiety for a long time, for many years. And the lower back pain, I manage to, I can ignore or treat with Motrin, but I do have lower back pain. It's not that serious, the back pain or the knee.
All right. So you want my 2 cents on this?
And the autoimmune diseases, I don't know if that would count. That I have a risk of having a blood clot, but I mean, I don't know if that, that wouldn't really stop me from working, right?
So,
Okay, sorry,
so
I talk too much.
here's kind of the thing. You're at a good age. You're going to try and grit out. DDS and initial and recon are not good about gritting people out. So I don't know if you'll get approved. It sounds more like a denial. I don't know the severity though, but you don't have built up the proper evidence needed for each one of these impairments for the SSA to actually approve you. So, if they're looking at, the people in their slot and they're saying, okay, well, we got a bunch of people that are really disabled, yours is going to be the first one to be kicked to the curb. If they have a bunch of people that are not really that disabled, you'll be under consideration for the benefits because it is a percentage approval game, even though they like to say it's about listings, grid outs, and vocational allowances. So at the end of the day, you have to know what is your best evidence for each impairment, and it has to show that you're truly severe. But
Now,
yeah, go ahead. One more question. One more.
I've
Yeah.
had CTs, MRIs. I do have an abnormal bone in my ear. I don't know if maybe maybe it's not Meniere's and it was misdiagnosed and it has to do with an opening in a bone in my ear, in the same ear that is causing the vertigo. I don't know. And now the ENT is sending me to a neurologist. He's saying that it's central, coming to my brain.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah. So, okay. But focus on proving severity, because what I'm not hearing is, what you have that equates to severity. That is an objective medical finding or even a vocational expert review of your inability to do things. So yeah, I would honestly, in your situation, go find an attorney. It doesn't have to be me. You can find anybody that's an attorney in the field of disability, but you need them to work with you to figure out what types of evidence you need. You need them to figure out what types of reports are needed, and then kind of go from there, because you can't approach this thing as like I'm treating myself and I take medications that are not in the US. The doctors have to create the argument from their perspective that can be used to be argued in a brief from the attorney's perspective to get the judge on board to approve you. Yeah.
I mean, I had an intermittent leave of absence at my job before I moved. I had a letter from my doctor for that, but that's just an extra thing.
How many failed job attempts have you had over the past 2 years?
I was let go of my job in New York, and then soon after, I wasn't vaccinated for COVID. That's why. I moved here with the intention of working.
Hey,
That's why I moved
you
here.
just got to answer the question now. Just hit the
I
end.
have not.
Okay, there you go. Because you can't do that in front of a judge, because the judge will start yelling at you. You have to. Yeah, it's totally fine. It's just
I ramble. I have ADHD.
So the main thing is, when you answer the questions with the judges, the questions are going to seem harmful to you, but they're the types of evidence the judge is looking for in order to actually give you the win. Because you're sitting in a pile of 5 people for the day, and one person's a quadriplegic, one person's a wounded veteran, and then the judge is going to approve sometimes 2 out of the 5 and sometimes 3 out of 5 for the day, and you want to be on that 3 of the 5 of the day, and you want to be the one that gets picked.
Okay. So keep it short and simple.
Well, collect the evidence you need, and also answer the question when they hit you with it. Because another thing with these judges that they really don't like is that when people go ahead and ramble about why they can't give the correct answer, and the correct answer is no, they don't have the evidence, but then they go on a rambling spree of why they don't really have it and why it should be acceptable and why they should still consider it, yada, yada, yada. It's just easier to have the evidence, and know what the evidence is to begin with, than to try and explain it in the answer where the judge is waiting for the no. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can't think of. That's pretty much it.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you think my chances are the first time? Probably none, right?
It sounds like a low likelihood.
This call is being recorded.
Approve. Oh, yeah, I think you hit a button on your end. But anyways, I'm going to go to the next caller. But keep rocking and rolling, keep working it. And then you can always touch base. You can always call me or somebody else, and we'll catch up from there, and rock and roll. Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right. Thank you so much, Walter.
Sounds good.
Have a great night.
You too. Have a wonderful night. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Perfect, everybody. So we're going to go ahead. We're at 18 minutes. We'll take one more caller because I do have to wake up early. Let's get this one more caller on the phone. Here we go. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Hnot. We are live. Remember to use a fake name throughout this process. What is your legal question? Go ahead.
Yes, hello. Mainly calling to figure out which ex-husband I should apply for benefits under.
Well, I mean, it's like the last one you had.
The thing is, I've been separated from the second husband for over 10 years, but he won't give me a divorce. And the thing is, I was married to the first ex-husband for over 10 years. But
you're still currently married, right?
Yes, but we haven't been together for like 12 years at least.
I mean, they do have that caveat provision of length of marriage or whatever, for somebody that might have passed away and it's been a while or whatever. So what you do is you call the SSA. I don't know your whole background, but you call the SSA, you give them the 2 names, the 2 social security numbers, and you ask them which had higher earnings that could potentially be used to add on to your benefits. And then they'll decide.
Still working.
Okay.
And I was on disability from, I don't know, 2006 until 2019, at which time I got off of it because took a couple of years. I didn't go to doctors during COVID that much, or as many of my specialists as I should have. I could actually probably, could get back on, but it would be time consuming, and I have a very sick daughter. So, so you're saying I should, how do I say though that I'm not married to the second one? How do
you're going to call the SSA and ask them which you're eligible for out of the two. And then if you are eligible for both, then at that point you will go ahead and basically, at that point they'll tell you which one has the higher earnings that you can tap into.
But the second one, I wouldn't be eligible until he's eligible. Is that correct?
It depends. Like usually, since you're currently married, you'd have to be 50 years old, and he would have to be dead, disabled, or retired.
Oh, dead, disabled, or retired. Not dead. He's not disabled, but he did illegally retire from one of his job, and then get another job, and is in a lot of trouble with Social Security. With IRS. So.
Sure.
Okay. If he was being, if they were going to take his Social Security or something like that, does that affect me? He has to
are you saying like in a fraudulent situation?
No, if you owe them and, they put you at 50% or something like that. I know that's happened to somebody I'm aware of.
If it affects his earnings, then yeah, it can affect you. Because remember, they look at the earnings going backwards in time.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your help.
Absolutely. You have a wonderful, wonderful night.
You as well. Good night.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Perfect. All right. I guess we'll take one more caller to get us closer to 30 minutes. But I do have to wake up early and do a hearing. So we're going to count it down. 10, 9, 8, 7. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Hnot. We're live on YouTube. Remember to use a fake name throughout this process. Go ahead.
Hey, this is Poet. I first of all want to thank you for everything you do and all the information you give me on a daily basis.
Yeah.
I have a quick question. You had a video a little while ago speaking about different generations and taking care of elders. I've been here in Florida for 5 years. I became disabled while I was down here due to surgeries and have been dealing with lots of health problems. My mom, I've been taking care of my mom. I moved down here to do that. And you hit the nail on the head when you had your video a while back about how you kind of explained how people that are a little bit more my age are doing that or trying to do that. And there's elders that trying to put our parents into nursing homes. Well, that has actually just kind of happened. My mom coerced in signing something up in Chicago where she's going to check into a convalescent center. And I'm here in the Florida house now dealing with pressures from my brothers that ultimately they will want to sell the house and fund her nursing home, leaving me basically homeless.
Well,
I don't have any choice.
Why isn't her nursing home being covered in part by Medicaid or Medicare?
I'm not sure. This actually is something that just happened last week, so I don't know the specifics. My eldest brother is going to come down in about 2 weeks and probably try to explain some things to me. And I believe that we could actually help cover either through her HELOC or, credit, something like that. Her first experience there, I have a huge feeling that she's going to love it for about 2 seconds and then hate it. She's been living independently down here with me and a dog, and she reads every day, and I kind of just have overlooked her. She's had a number of falls and a number of issues while I've been here that I've thankfully been here for, because she would have not been here any longer.
Yeah.
So since then, like I said, I became disabled. I had 5 surgeries in 2022, fought with the Social Security disability for 2.5 years. Luckily was awarded disability, and I've been with you, talking to you about this probably through about the last year and a half of it. My question to you is, in this situation that I'm in, even though it's kind of early stages, do I have any rights as a disabled person not to be thrown out on my butt, basically by my family? We're in a family home. It's owned by us. And if I could somehow, even through my very slight amount of disability, somehow find a way to cover costs relating to the home, I get a certain amount from my medical coverage that could cover the power bill and, a couple other things. I'm wondering if I have the argument to tell them, hey, give me, 6 months or a year to figure things out. Not only that, and make improvements on the house so that when you do decide to sell it, it can go for top dollar. I'm just worried that they're going to come down here and basically try to serve me with, 90 days out kind of thing. There's no lease. There's never been any sort of anything agreement-wise written down between me and my mother. I moved down here 5 years ago, like I said, to take care of her. And now I'm just kind of worried about what's going to happen to me in the next 3 to 6 months. I do have solutions.
Yeah.
I've got a 19-year-old son that is thinking about moving down here and going to college, and he would then also move in here and help take care of costs. But I don't have any idea what this nursing home is going to cost her. I'm sure it's extraordinarily expensive. And up until 6 months ago, I didn't think she was even open to the idea. She was actually super against the idea. But then she had surgery on her right foot, and now she has to have surgery on her left foot. So she is going to have even more mobility issues coming up here in the next, 6 months worth of surgery and recovery. I think she bailed out of here thinking that I wasn't enough to take care of her during that time. And, as much as I'd like to argue with them, I feel like I can take care of her quite well. Make sure she eats, make sure she is up and about. She also just quit drinking after 48 years. She was an alcoholic up until her first surgery this year, and I'm super proud of her for that. But it took her that long, and she did have a pretty severe drinking problem up until the surgery was needed in January.
So,
do I have any rights?
Well, I mean,
in this home?
So this is all under the premise that she's okay with the house being sold to pay for stuff there. I mean, is she willing to put it in a trust for you or not really?
So it's in a trust already. The house is in a trust. I'm named in the trust, but I'm not a trustee. I'm named as a benefactor of the trust, but I'm not a trustee. And that's another thing that I was a little upset about with them when they did that last year. I understand their logic behind that. I've got some debt. I've got some, I've got a history. So when the trust was actually written, when my dad was still alive, who I was there for the last 8 years of his life, taking care of him, the last draft of the trust was written basically a year after I got out of prison, so they didn't have any idea of where things would go with my life. I've been sober 20 years. I've been dealing with Crohn's disease, and now I just actually passed away in June from kidney failure and a cardiac arrest, and they brought me back at Lake Nona Hospital. Thank God to them. And now I'm going through the process of recovering from that experience. And then they also took me off of a whole bunch of my meds because of that experience. And I still don't have answers. So I'm right in the middle of kind of a medical crisis myself right now. So making me move or having me, taken from the house would even make things even worse for me right now.
Yeah, but I mean, the whole medical argument, that's not going to be super strong against the sale.
Right.
I mean,
I'm also the one that has been telling you I'm going to take you out to dinner sometime. So that's
oh
just
yeah,
to remind you.
yeah,
I'll
yeah.
meet up with you.
I'm trying to think of like specifically, because what you're really asking me is how do you save the house so that you end up being able to live there and they can't do anything about it?
Well, for a little while, I would like them to give me a year, not only to do improvements on the house, but also to get my life situated. I'm currently trying to get off of all the prescription meds. They took me off of a bunch because of the heart attack, and since then I've had some, I've had some really bad weeks and some really okay weeks. But my problem is they put me on. I was on 12 different medications, and I have a huge feeling that that was what led to my kidney failure / heart attack. So now all the doctors have kind of weaned me off of some stuff, but I still do need some stuff, and I'm still trying to get off of. I'm dependent on my sleeping medications. I actually just got off of pain medications for the first time in 15 years. So again, referring back to the video that you made recently about, people who've got opioid problems and stuff, I fell into that trap because of my surgeries. Luckily, I'm starting to realize that pulling back from all of those is going to be the best thing for me, but I have to find some way to deal with it. And I think I'm going to go for a green card here in Florida, but that has also been something that's been bugging me because I've been sober for so long that it would kind of violate my mentality that I've had the last 20 years of staying clean. So I'm just kind of at a fear factor right now. I don't think anything's going to happen immediately, but I know in 2 weeks when my eldest brother comes down, he's going to try to lay down some laws about timing and stuff like that. And I just want to know if I have a leg to stand on, if I should go get a lawyer to help me kind of. I know that I've got like a 90-day period if they try to evict me, but technically there's no lease, so they can't. I don't think they have the ground to stand on when it comes to giving me 90 days to move when I've been a resident here for 5 years plus. So,
Well, I mean, to be fair, the courts will argue that the house has to go to auction if all parties do not agree to what happens to it. And then when it goes to auction, you know what I mean? The auction is the end. You know what I mean? So
what's interesting to me too is that they made us make the trust here in Florida, but I know that now that she's in Chicago, it doesn't apply unless she is here. So that was one thing that I learned. The
trust wouldn't apply because she moved to Chicago?
Right. So I found out that when we were creating the trust down here in Florida, that if it would have been created in any other state, it wouldn't have been applied here. It would have had to been something that was created here in the state of Florida. It was something I found out through the research when I was finding out what my mom's last plans were and that she didn't have any. Then my brothers jumped into action. And in the process of creating the trust here in Florida, I found out that if she would have been from Chicago and had a trust that was created in Chicago, it would not have any effect here in Florida's courts.
But she has a Florida trust in Florida.
We have a Florida trust now here for this house.
So why would that not apply?
Because now that as soon as she's up in Chicago for 90 days, she becomes a resident of Chicago.
Yeah, but that's not going to change the ultimate outcome of it. Is there a specific provision in the trust that says it'll become null and void? No, that trust is still going to be good. That trust is going to hold.
Okay.
So you need a real estate attorney / civil rights attorney to go over potential legal options you have. I mean, in Florida, you have to be given fair this, fair that, fair this, fair that. But at the same time, your legal protections are kind of limited because you've been living. I mean, have you been paying the mortgage? Have you been paying the taxes? Is there any
helping. I've been helping when I can, but like I said, I fought with the federal government for my disability for 2.5 years. Went through the whole 3 denial process and finally got approved on the third. and had just started receiving disability as of March of this year. So I'm just getting used to having Medicaid, Medicare. So far, it's been rock star. It's been great. But I've also developed all sorts of new problems. I went from having 2 doctors in June to having that event happen, and now I have 5 doctors. And then, like I said, I kicked my pain doctor to the curb, and have been trying to, through my psychiatrist, make sure that all the medications that are being prescribed are being monitored by him.
So real quick, I'm kind of,
else,
I'm starting to fall asleep because I'm super tired, but here's the gig.
I understand.
How many rooms are in that house?
2 bedroom, 2 bath.
Okay. So what would
private gated community? It's in Ventura.
What would stop your brothers from you paying a bit of rent and somebody else renting the other room and making it
That's what my suggestion was.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I was student bedroom. I would be able to rent it out, at the same time do the renovations to the house to increase the value. I have full capability, even though I'm disabled. I have a history of doing wood floors. I have a history of doing cabinets. I can do the carpentry. It's just going to take me a little extra time, just because I have good days and bad, mostly bad. And that would be my proposal to them: is let me stay for 6, 8, 12 months and make the improvements on the house, even rent out the room, have some income from that, and make sure all the overall costs of the house were covered. All they would need to do is worry about where she's currently going to live and what that cost is. And she gets Social Security, so she has some income. And I know she has a home equity line of credit, and I think they've only tapped into that, like maybe $12,000, and the house is kind of worth about 4, maybe almost 4.5. I think I can make the house worth 4.5, 5. But right now, if we were to try to, fire sale it, it'd probably be 370.
I mean, you're
Just
also
because it needs to be
in a
updated.
bubble. I mean, in the next 6 months, you're in a housing
Yeah.
bubble. Things going to crash. So I'm falling asleep. So I just,
Okay.
my brain's not working right now.
Just wanted to
But
ask that question.
Yeah.
If I've got any, so you said real estate lawyer.
Civil rights attorney,
do you
real
know
estate
any-
lawyer, somebody who can look at wills,
Okay.
trusts, and estates, stuff like that. But you're going to need the mom
Okay.
to sign something, or at least protect you in some way from them, because they're going to try and force a sale upon her
Yeah, that's gonna be
passing.
tough.
And I mean, if she wants extra
Yeah.
funds while she's in there, but remember too, I mean, she could always do an at-home aid as well. Like, they have that built into certain insurance plans, so they have at-home aids. But I'm gonna head to
Right.
bed, but I will catch you
Okay.
a little bit later. Good sir. You have a
I'll get
wonderful
you again.
night. Yeah.
Yep. Thank
Perfect.
you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So I'm starting to fall asleep. I'm going to catch you all a little bit later. Please remember to have a wonderful, wonderful night. And Attorney Walter Hnot, I have to wake up super early and do a hearing. And if you are looking to hire a disability attorney, you can always hire me or somebody else. But remember too, a lot of these new law firms are being started in the disability field that don't actually practice disability law. The only thing they do is they go ahead and refer you out to attorneys that pay them to send the clients over. And if they're advertising that they're the #1 disability firm, that's actually a violation of a lot of the bar rules. So just be careful. It's starting to get shitty out there. So anyways, I'll catch you all a little bit later. Have a wonderful, wonderful night, and we will rock and roll from there. Attorney Walter Hnot, and please, please, please take care of yourself, and we'll go from there. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful night. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.